The purpose of this presentation is to bring honor and glory to the Word, the righteous branch, and to awaken and alert his branches to remain watchful for his return, which will come like a thief in the night. We are neither Jew nor Greek, Greco-Roman Christian. We are diligent seekers of the perpetual ancient path, aiming to hear and obey and walk straight in the commands of the Most High, wholeheartedly, without veering to the right or the left. The almond tree is known as the first of the fruit trees to awaken from its winter slumber. The Hebrew word for the almond tree is shached, and is from the Hebrew root of Strong's number 8247. This derives from the primitive root of Strong's number 8245, which is shachad. Shachad means to be alert, that is, sleepless, and hence to be on the lookout, whether for good or ill. Shachad can be translated as hasten, remain, wake, or watch, as if watching for something. Using a literal translation into English, the tree might be considered the alert tree, the sleepless tree, the watchful tree, the on the lookout tree. Almonds are considered stone fruits, or drupes, as opposed to nuts. They are a member of the genus Prunus, along with apricots, cherries, damsons, nectarines, peaches, and plums. Consider some references to the almond tree. The fruit of the almond tree is listed among the choice fruit in Genesis chapter 43, verse 11. And their father Israel said unto them, If it must be so now, do this. Take of the best fruits in the land in your vessels, and carry down the man a present, a little balm, and a little honey, spices, and myrrh, nuts, and almonds. As we have seen, the fruit of the almond tree is listed among the choice fruit in Genesis chapter 43, verse 11. Now, Luz, or Laz, also named Bethel, means almond in Arabic, and he called the name of that place Bethel. But the name of that city was called Luz at the first. So Jacob came to Luz, which is in the land of Canaan, that is Bethel, he and all the people that were with him. And he built there an altar, and called the place El Bethel, because there God appeared unto him, when he fled from the face of his brother. Consider the Mount Sinai, which is in Arabia, and is known as Jabal al-Lawz. It means mountain of almonds. Also consider that an almond branch was one of the branches that Jacob set before the flocks of his uncle Laban, that they might conceive. And Jacob took him rods of green poplar, and of the hazel and chestnut tree, and pilled white stakes in them, and made the white appear which was in the rods. And he set the rods which he had pilled before the flocks in the gutters and the watering troughs, when the flocks came to drink, that they should conceive when they came to drink. The word migdal, or a similar derivative, means almond in Lithuanian, Polish, Romanian, and Ukrainian. Speak unto the children of Israel, that they should turn and encamp before Pihahiroth, between Migdol and the sea, over against Baal-Zephon. Before it shall ye encamp by the sea. The branches and cycle of the almond tree serve as a pattern for the candlestick in the tabernacle. And thou shalt make a candlestick of pure gold, of beaten work shall the candlestick be made. His shaft and his branches his bowls, his knops, and his flowers shall be of the same. And 6 branches shall come out of the sides of it, 3 branches of the candlestick out of the one side, and 3 branches of the candlestick out of the other side. 3 bowls made like unto almonds, with a knop and a flower in one branch, and 3 bowls made like almonds in the other branch, with a knop and a flower. So in the 6 branches that come out of the candlestick. And in the candlestick shall be 4 bowls made like unto almonds, with their knops and their flowers. And there shall be a knop under 2 branches of the same, and a knop under 2 branches of the same, and a knop under 2 branches of the same, according to the 6 branches that proceed out of the candlestick. Their knops and their branches shall be of the same. It all shall be one beaten pure work of gold. Be reminded also of Aaron's rod that budded, blossomed, and yielded almonds. And Moses spake unto Korah and unto all his company, saying, Even tomorrow will show who are his and who are holy, and will cause him to come near unto him. Even him whom he hath chosen will he cause to come near unto him. And it came to pass that on the morrow Moses went into the tabernacle of witness, and behold, the rod of Aharon from the house of Levi was budded, and brought forth buds, and bloomed blossoms, and yielded almonds. Solomon's book of Ecclesiastes also prophesies of a time when the almond tree shall flourish. Remember now thy Creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them, while the sun, or the light, or the moon, or the stars be not darkened, nor the clouds return after the rain. In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened. And the doors shall be shut in the streets, when the sound of the grinding is low. And he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. Also, when they shall be afraid of that which is high, and fears shall be in the way, and the almond tree shall flourish. And the grasshopper shall be a burden, and desire shall fail, because man goeth to his long home, and the mourners go about the streets. The prophet Jeremiah was shown a vision of an almond branch. Moreover, the word of Jehovah came unto me, saying, Yirmiyahu, what seest thou? And I said, I see a rod of an almond tree. Then said Jehovah unto me, Thou hast seen well, for I will hasten my word to perform it. The branch of an almond tree changes according to the seasons. This is an almond branch that is beginning to arouse from its winter slumber. This picture shows an almond branch that has awakened and is flourishing. This picture is of a branch with the first fruit of the almond hastily growing. A branch with the almond's first fruit that is ready for the harvest. The harvest of the almond's first fruit is common in the Middle East, although less common in the United States. And here is a branch with fruit, whose flesh is withering in the heat of the sun. And here's a branch with the almond's final fruit ready to be gathered in. Here is an image that shows an almond branch that is sleeping. There are several instances in the Torah where the almond tree is associated with the Levitical priesthood. Such an example would be the candlestick, or menorah, which is patterned after a blossoming almond tree. The candlestick was chosen to serve as the light in the holy place. The holy place is a place only accessible by priests. The priesthood, Aharon and his seed, was charged with keeping the lamps burning from evening to morning before the Most High continually. Also, Aaron's rod is referenced in association with the priesthood. It was Aaron's rod, or branch, which brought forth buds, bloomed blossoms, and yielded almonds. This served as the sign of the one that the Most High considered his, and who are holy, and those that he chose to come near unto him. It remains to be determined whether Aaron's rod resembled an almond branch with first fruit hastily growing, or a branch with blossoms and unharvested final fruit from the previous season. Also associated with the priesthood is the reference to the almond branch in Jeremiah's vision. According to Jeremiah chapter 1, verse 1, Jeremiah was a priest. In the vision of Ezekiel chapter 44, the main duties of the priests of Zadok are to teach the people the difference between the holy and the profane, and to cause the people to discern between the unclean and the clean. In controversy they shall stand in judgment, and they shall judge it according to the judgments of the Most High, to keep the laws and statutes of the Most High. As written in Ezekiel chapter 44 and verses 23 through 24, "And they shall teach my people the difference between the holy and the profane, and cause them to discern between the unclean and the clean. And in controversy they shall stand in judgment, and they shall judge it according to my judgments, and they shall keep my laws and my statutes in all mine assemblies, and they shall hallow my Sabbaths." In a nutshell, from a dormant and naked state, the almond tree receives a command to prepare for blossoming. The tree begins to arouse from its slumber. A green calyx tip appears at the end of the bud. The buds begin to dilate. The almond tree awakens and clothes itself in light pink blossoms, which turn white as snow before falling to the ground 5 to 14 days after bursting forth. Bees and other insects will begin to deliver pollen to the blossoms. The first fruit of the almond tree begins to emerge from the calyx and resembles a flame of fire. These buds will hastily grow to their potential size over a course of 7 to 8 weeks. At this time, the first fruit may be hand-picked. Or the first fruits may be left on the tree to mature further. The summer heat causes the fruit to split open. The flesh of the fruit will wither in the heat. The seed inside is then revealed. In the United States, mechanical harvesters are used to shake the seeds from the trees. In other parts of the world, the harvesters beat the trees, causing the seeds to fall to the ground. As the seeds fall to the ground, nets or blankets are used to capture them. The harvesters then gather in the seeds. They are then brought to a location where they can be separated, the hull or husk from the shell. Over the next several weeks, the leaves will fall from the tree, and the tree will enter a period of rest. After this period of rest, the cycle will begin anew. The almond tree is described as the tree that watches for the changes of the seasons. The fact that this tree watches for the changes in the seasons is an interesting description considering the shape of its fruit. In order to understand how the almond tree watches for the changes in the seasons, let us walk through the basic cycle of a day and the basic cycle of a year. Although science has discovered that the Earth cycles around the Sun, not that the Sun cycles around the Earth, let us consider the cycles from the perspective of someone observing them with the naked eye, thousands of years ago, rather than from the current modern, scholarly, and scientific observation. Let us consider the basic cycle of a day and the following biblical passage. From Genesis 8:22. While the earth remains, seed time and harvest, and cold and heat, and summer and winter, and day and night shall not cease. There exists day and night. After a period of darkness and rest, noticeable changes occur as the sun begins to approach the horizon, bringing about an increase in temperature and light, as well as dew. These changes seem to awaken the day creatures from their slumber. This period of time is known as morning twilight or dawn. Then, the sun appears in its fullness. As it rises above the horizon and continues along its circuit, the temperature and light continue to increase. The sun continues along its circuit and reaches its peak position of the day. This is known as midday. As the sun travels from its peak position towards the western horizon, temperatures continue to increase, reaching the daily maximum. The sun continues along this circuit and sets in the western horizon. As the sun moves below the horizon, the changes in decreasing light and temperature become more noticeable. This period of time is known as evening twilight or dusk. After the light of the sun fades away, darkness and rest come upon the land and the living things of the day. After the period of darkness and rest, noticeable changes occur as the sun begins to approach the horizon and the cycle begins anew. In a similar manner, so is the cycle of a year. In a year, there exists summer and winter. After a period of long nights and dormancy, noticeable changes occur as the sun approaches the equinox, bringing about an increase in air and soil temperatures, moisture, and length of days. Then the sun moves through the equinox position and continues its course as the temperatures and length of days continue to increase. Continuing along this circuit, the sun reaches its peak position of the year. This position is known as the summer solstice. As the sun travels from its peak position of the year towards the equinox, temperatures continue to increase, reaching an annual maximum. As the sun continues along its circuit through the equinox position, noticeable changes begin to occur. Temperature and length of day continue to diminish, bringing about a decrease in soil temperatures and typically an increase in moisture. As the sun continues along its circuit and the temperature and length of days continue to diminish, a period of dormancy and rest come upon the land. After a period of dormancy and cold temperatures, noticeable changes occur as the sun begins to approach the equinox position and the cycle begins anew. And these noticeable changes in increasing air and soil temperature, moisture, and length of days seem to arouse the almond tree from its slumber. And cover its nakedness, as if the sleeping tree awakens from slumber at the dawn of a new cycle. After a certain period of cold temperatures during dormancy, the almond tree typically bursts forth into blossom near the end of January or early February. Bees and insects once again pollinate the blossoms, and the almond tree's first fruits begin to emerge from the calyx and hastily grow to its potential size over the course of 2 months, at which time the first fruit is ready for the first harvest. This rapid period of growth occurs during the first 2 months after pollination and typically is completed by the latter part of April or early May. The increasing temperatures of the summer cause the remaining fruit to split open and the heat withers the flesh. Around the hottest time of the annual cycle, the flesh completely withers in the heat, and the seed is ready for harvest. The seed is typically ready for harvest around the 7th month after blossom. Harvest season begins, and the trees are shaken or beaten, causing the seeds to fall to the ground. And the harvesters gather in the seeds and separate the seeds from the hulls. As the temperatures and daylight hours begin to diminish, the almond tree loses its leaves in preparation for dormancy or rest. This typically occurs around the month of November. So it seems that the almond tree watches and signals the changes in the seasons. As the light of dawn heralds a new cycle, as the summer heat draws nigh, and the intensity of the heat, and as the winter cold draws nigh. Consider the meaning of the prodigy. Anything out of the ordinary process of nature, as so extraordinary to excite wonder or astonishment.